Have you ever wondered why the same man who bends over backwards for a woman is the one who ends up ignored, dismissed, or even abandoned, while the man who sets boundaries, who refuses to be treated like an option, is the one who captures her deepest respect and attraction? There's a reason for this, and it's a truth that most men are never told. If you've ever felt invisible after giving your all, if you've ever watched her grow cold after you sacrificed your own needs for hers, then what I'm about to reveal will hit you hard, because women don't fall in love with men who make themselves endlessly available. They fall in love with men who protect their value, men who demand respect through the boundaries they set. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep repeating the same painful cycle of giving more and receiving less. See, here's the hidden psychology. Boundaries are not walls. They're signals. They silently communicate who you are, what you tolerate, and whether she should take you seriously or not. A man without boundaries tells her he doesn't believe in his own worth. He's like a guard who leaves the gate open for anyone to walk through, hoping they'll stay out of kindness. But a man with boundaries, he's the king of his own castle. He doesn't need to raise his voice. He doesn't need to beg for respect. His presence, his limits, his calm refusal to accept less than he deserves, it speaks louder than any words. And here's where the twist cuts deep. Women will always test your boundaries, not because they're cruel, not because they want to hurt you, but because it's instinct. She needs to know if you're strong enough to protect your values or if you'll crumble under pressure. When you cave, when you let her walk over your standards, she may smile in the moment, but inside, something breaks. Her respect for you, her attraction to you, that spark she once felt begins to fade, and once it fades, it's nearly impossible to bring back. So the real question is, are you willing to be the man who earns her lasting respect, or will you continue being the man who confuses weakness for love? Because one choice makes her admire you for life, and the other makes her quietly resent you forever. Most men grow up with the dangerous belief that love means self-sacrifice, that being a good man is about giving everything, tolerating everything, and never saying no. Society tells you to be nice, to be agreeable, to avoid conflict at all costs. But here's the brutal truth. When you erase your boundaries, you erase your identity. And the moment a woman realizes you are willing to abandon yourself just to keep her, she loses the very thing that drew her to you in the first place, your strength. You see, women don't consciously say, "I want a man with boundaries," but subconsciously, it's the most powerful trigger of attraction. Why? Because boundaries equal self-respect. A man who enforces his standards shows he values himself more than he fears losing her, and that paradox is what makes her feel safe in his presence. Safe, not because he gives her everything she wants, but because he shows he's not afraid to walk away if his core values are disrespected. That kind of inner strength is magnetic. Think about it. Have you ever seen a woman obsessed with a man who barely chases her, who doesn't fold under her moods, who seems untouchable by her games? That's not an accident. She senses he won't bend himself into pieces just to please her. He has boundaries that command respect without him ever needing to demand it. And respect is the soil where real attraction grows. On the flip side, when a man has no boundaries, he ends up trying to buy love with compliance. He says yes to things he hates. He stays quiet when she disrespects him. He forgives patterns he should walk away from, and in doing so, he trains her to see him as disposable. She may enjoy the control for a while, but deep down, she cannot respect him. And once respect dies, attraction soon follows. What most men fail to realize is this. Every time you allow someone to cross a line, you're silently teaching them how to treat you. And every time you enforce your boundary with calm strength, you're silently teaching them how to value you. It's not about control, it's about self-respect. And women crave the man who respects himself enough to say, "This is who I am, this is what I allow, and I will not apologize for it." Here's a secret most men never hear. Boundaries are not just about what you say no to, they're about what you say yes to. They are the invisible blueprint of your life. A man without them drifts like a leaf in the wind, going wherever others push him. But a man with boundaries moves with direction, certainty, and purpose, and that is what women find irresistible. Not the man who exists only to orbit her world, but the man whose world is so strong, she wants to be part of it. Let me put it plainly. When you don't have boundaries, you're telling her that her emotions, her whims, her moods are more important than your own values. You're saying, "I'll betray myself just so you'll stay." And while she may not call it out, deep inside, it makes her question if you're truly capable of leading, protecting, or even loving her in the way she needs. Because love without strength is not love at all. It's desperation. Now, imagine the opposite. You stand firm. You calmly say no when something crosses the line. You refuse to be manipulated by tears, anger, or silent treatment. You don't argue, you don't chase, you don't plead, you simply hold your ground. That moment may cause conflict on the surface, but underneath, something powerful happens. She feels your backbone. She feels your masculinity. She feels that she cannot push you into becoming a version of yourself you don't respect. And that makes her respect you even more. Understand this, women don't need a perfect man. They don't even need a man who agrees with them on everything. What they crave is a man who cannot be shaken from his principles. A man who values himself enough to protect his peace. A man who shows her, without words, "I'm not afraid of losing you, because I refuse to lose myself." That kind of power makes her feel something no amount of gifts, compliments, or blind devotion ever could. It makes her feel safe in her feminine energy because she knows she's with a man who stands unmovable in his masculine frame. Every boundary you enforce is not a wall that pushes her away. It's a foundation that pulls her closer. Because when she sees you respect yourself, she instinctively respects you too. And that respect is the seed of love that never fades. One of the hardest truths a man must face is that without boundaries, you will always attract the wrong kind of attention. You won't attract loyalty, love, or admiration. You'll attract manipulation, convenience, and disrespect. A woman may stay with you if you lack boundaries, but not because she loves you. It will be because you're easy to control, and deep down, you'll feel it. That heavy weight in your chest, that quiet resentment, that gnawing emptiness when you realize she doesn't look at you with desire, but with indifference. That's the price men pay when they confuse weakness for kindness. Now, here's the paradox. The moment you begin enforcing your boundaries, the entire dynamic changes. Some women will push back harder, testing if you'll crumble. Some will even walk away. And that's the part most men fear, the risk of loss. But what you don't see is that loss is often the greatest gift. Because when you enforce boundaries, you filter out those who only wanted to take advantage of you. You eliminate the ones who were never truly invested. And in their place, you make space for women who genuinely respect, admire, and value who you are. Think of boundaries like gravity. They pull the right people closer and push the wrong ones away. And the stronger your gravity, the more effortlessly you attract women who are drawn to your strength. Women don't want a man they can mold into their puppet. They want a man whose presence challenges them, inspires them, and makes them rise into their feminine essence. When you stand firm in your boundaries, you become that man. But here's the warning. Enforcing boundaries is not about aggression, anger, or control. It's about calm certainty. The man who screams, threatens, or punishes is not strong, he's weak. Real strength is silent. It doesn't need to prove itself. When you calmly say, "This doesn't work for me," and you mean it, she feels a quiet power that no bravado can fake, and that power awakens something deep inside her, the respect that keeps attraction alive. Remember this. Women are not drawn to the man who gives them everything they demand. They're drawn to the man who refuses to give up his soul in the process. And when you finally become that man, you'll never again beg for love, because love will come to you effortlessly. Every man faces a silent crossroads in his relationships. Betray yourself to keep her, or honor yourself and risk losing her. Most men choose the first path. They silence their opinions, they tolerate disrespect, they stretch themselves thin just to avoid conflict. And at first it feels like the safer road. She stays, the relationship continues, and you convince yourself you've kept the peace. But deep inside, you know what really happened. You traded your dignity for temporary comfort, and every time you do it, a piece of your masculinity erodes. Here's what no one tells you. Women can sense that erosion. Even if she never says it, she feels it in how you move, how you speak, how you react. A man who abandons himself for her approval loses that spark of authority, that fire of certainty that makes her trust him. She may not put it into words, but slowly her attraction fades. She laughs less at your jokes. She respects your voice less in arguments. She touches you less. And eventually, she stops seeing you as the man she first desired. But when you choose the second path, the path of honoring yourself, the energy shifts. It doesn't mean being stubborn or cold. It means being aligned. You say what you mean. You follow through on your word. You walk away from disrespect without fear. You hold the frame of your life so firmly that no storm can shake it. And here's the part that most men miss. Even if she argues, even if she resists, even if she gets angry in the moment, she will feel safer with you than she ever has before, because safety for a woman is not about you giving her everything she asks for. It's about knowing you won't collapse under pressure, that you won't sell out your soul just to avoid her disappointment, that you're a man whose respect for himself outweighs his fear of losing anyone else. And that feeling of being with a man who cannot be broken creates an attraction she can't manufacture, fake, or deny. This is why women love men with boundaries, not because they want to be controlled, but because deep down they crave the strength of a man who refuses to be controlled. And when you embody that, you stop being the man she tolerates, and you become the man she treasures. At the core of every man's journey is a single truth. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about teaching the world how to treat you. They're about protecting the man you've worked so hard to become, the man who refuses to shrink just to make others comfortable. And when a woman sees that you honor yourself in this way, something profound happens. She doesn't just love you for what you give her. She loves you for the strength you carry within yourself. Think of the strongest, most magnetic men you've ever admired. Were they the ones chasing approval, bending to every demand, or begging for affection? Number. They were men who stood tall, unshaken, unafraid to lose anyone who disrespected them. That is not arrogance, it's self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of love, leadership, and lasting attraction. Here's the part that should shake you awake. Every time you allow a boundary to be crossed, you are teaching her you cannot protect yourself. And if you cannot protect yourself, how can she ever believe you can protect her? That's why women lose interest in men who let disrespect slide. That's why they lean closer to men who hold the line. Because boundaries don't just keep you strong, they make her feel safe, seen, and drawn into your gravity. So ask yourself this right now. Are you the man who avoids conflict by betraying yourself, or are you the man who stands firm even when it's uncomfortable? The answer to that question will decide the respect you earn, the love you attract, and the legacy you leave. And I want you to sit with this. Women don't fall in love with men who have no boundaries. They may use them, they may tolerate them, but they do not love them. They fall in love with men who are unshakable, men who know who they are, men who draw a line and hold it. That is the kind of man every woman admires, and that is the kind of man you were born to be. Now I'll leave you with this question. What's the one boundary you know you need to set in your life, but you've been avoiding? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your truth. And if this message hit you, like this video, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend who needs to hear it today.